Let's talk about power off resume. Recently, Marlin 1.1.9 was released, and it includes Creality's version of the power off resume feature. Power off resume lets you restart a print from where you left off if the power were to get disrupted. All you have to do is hit the resume button, and it should go right back to where you left off, no problems at all. Now there's a couple different ways to implement this kind of thing, and one is through hardware and one is through software. Creality's gone the software route, so each time you read a line of G code, that line also gets written to the SD card, so it knows exactly where to go when the power comes back on. Fortunately, this is pretty easy to implement, so let's head into Marlin and I'll show you how to do that now. So pretty much all you have to do is get into your Marlin configuration, head to the configuration_adv.h, and we'll do a search, and you can just search for Creality. That'll take you right to the power off resume feature. Now by default, this line's going to be commented out, but you should just be able to remove this comment and re-upload your firmware, and you should be good to go. Now there is one additional setting to power loss recovery. You can monitor a certain board pin, whichever one you'd like, for its high or low state. This would be useful if you were using maybe a UPS. So the UPS would go ahead and say, hey, we lost power, go ahead and shut the printer down and we'll do this power loss recovery. You don't need to do anything with these by default, just uncommenting this line should be good enough. So we'll re-upload. So now I've kicked off a print, we'll let it print a couple lines, turn the power off, and we'll try this thing out. Now there is one big caveat to this feature. You do have to be printing from the SD card, so if you're using Octoprint or you're tethered to a PC, this feature isn't going to work out so well. But let's let it print for a minute, and then we'll try it. So we're a couple layers into our print. Let's simulate a power outage. We'll turn the power off. Let's turn the power back on. When the power comes back on, you'll get a menu that asks you if you want to resume or stop the print. We'll hit resume. It's going to heat the bed and the hot end back up to temp. Once the heating's done, it's going to raise the Z. It's going to home X and Y. Then it should head right back to the print and restart that layer. Power off resume saved our print. Now by default, it's only going to remember a layer at a time. So when you resume, you're going to have to reprint that whole layer over. Now you can set it to where it remembers every command, but that adds a lot of read-write traffic to your SD card. But I'll show you how to enable that now. So if you want to change power loss recovery from where it writes just every layer or to every movement, you can go to the pull down and head to powerlossrecovery.h, and if you uncomment this line, it's going to save every command move. This way it won't redo that layer, it will resume exactly where the print left off, although this is a lot harder on your SD card because there's a lot more read and write. So there you go, that's how you get started with power off resume in Marlin 1.1.9. Now it's definitely not perfect, I'm sure there's a few bugs they still need to work out, but having power off resume is definitely better than not having any at all. A big thanks to my Patreon supporters. These videos are just for you, and I'll see you on the next coffee break.